in the nature of Greek drama. It's very different than what we are used to with theater today. The Greek theaters were built in outdoors amphitheaters, and they had a very specific design to them. And they were so popular, in fact, a lot of people said, that's a really good design. We're going to incorporate it in wherever we can. Most commonly, our churches. Believe it or not, most churches are based on a Greek theater. This church just happens to be built and based exactly like a Greek theater. It was kind of handy. The Greeks, they had aisles where the actors would come through, such as this, and they called them the parados. They had a large semicircular area where the actors performed with an altar in the center called the orchestra. They had a large backdrop called the skene, which is where we get the word scene and scenery from. And it just so happens we love this idea so much, we started copying it in as many places as we could. And the church is one of the places that has survived throughout time. Another example that you'll see tonight is Greek masks. The Greek mask serves several functions. It had to do with delineate certain characters, who was who. It also acted as a microphone for the actors. It was a built-in megaphone, so you could hear them. A lot of times you would have an acting troupe that would play multiple actors at once. You'll see that in tonight's show. One character will walk off, put on a different mask, and become a completely different character. All elements of Greek theater. Another element that you'll see tonight that's very different is the staging. A lot of times when we are acting, and we see modern day acting, we look and we want to talk to one another. That's not necessarily true in Greek theater. A lot of the times, if I'm going to talk to this young man right here in Greek theater, I'm actually going to walk in front of him and talk to all of you, even though I'm actually directing to him. Little different things that you'll all see tonight. Little bit backstory about tonight's show. Antigone is the daughter of Oedipus. Oedipus was the king of Thebes. Oedipus is a very, very famous figure in Greek mythology. He goes through lots of journeys and ends up becoming the king of Thebes, marrying the queen, who, through circumstance and accidents, was actually his mother. And they have 4 children: Antigone, Isomene, Polydeuces, and Alcestis. The 2 brothers, upon Oedipus' death, inherit the kingdom of Thebes. They have differences of opinions, and they engage in a civil war and end up killing each other. There's a guy named Creon who becomes the new king, kind of takes everything over, and he decrees that the brother that fought for the city will be buried with all the rights and honors. The brother who fought against the city, well, we're going to leave him unburied in the street for dogs and birds to pick on. Antigone, being a dutiful sister that she is, says, this isn't right, and I'm going to bury my brother. Antigone is a play that deals with a lot of issues of philosophy of what is the power of government, what is the right of a king, should the government rule itself, should it rule its people? Do we as individuals, are we to serve our own moral good, the good of the government, or the good of the gods? All issues and themes that you will see here tonight. I present to you Antigone by Sophocles.
no. Good news or bad. Nothing since we two sisters were robbed of our two brothers on a single day, when each destroyed the other. During the night, the enemy has fled. This much I know, but nothing more, either for grief or joy.
I knew it. Therefore I brought you here, outside the doors, to tell you secretly.
What is it? Some dark shadows upon you.
Our brother's burial. Creon has ordained for hungry birds to prey a soup on his poor body. So he has decreed, our
noble Creon!
And he who disobeys in any detail shall be put to death by public stoning in the streets of Thebes. So it is now for you to show if you are worthy or unworthy of your birth.
Oh, my poor sister, if it has come to this, what can I do, either to help or hinder?
Will you join hands with me and share my task?
What dangerous enterprise have you in mind?
Will you join with me in taking up the body?
What? You would bury him against the law?
No one shall say I failed him. I will bury my brother, and yours too, if you will not.
You reckless girl, when Creon is forbidden.
He has no right to keep me from my own.
Think of our father, dear Antigone. How we saw him die, hated, scorned. And how his own hands blinded his own eyes because of sins which he himself disclosed. And his mother wife, 2 names in one, knotted a rope and so destroyed herself. And last of all, upon a single day, our brothers fought to the death and shed upon the ground the blood that joined them. And if we disobey the law, our death will be even more shameful than theirs.
I will not urge you. Your choice is made, but I will bury him. And if I have to die for this pure crime,
die for this pure crime!
Then I am content, for I have to please the dead far longer than I need please the living.
I have to please the dead!
I do them no dishonor, but to act against the city's will, I am too weak.
Make that your pretext. I will go and heap the earth upon the brother whom I love.
You reckless girl, I tremble for your life.
Look to yourself and do not fear for me.
At least keep your purpose a secret, and so too will I.
Go and denounce me. I shall hate you more if you do not.
Go and do it if you must. It is blind folly, but those who love you dearly. Welcome, light of the sun, the fairest sun that has ever dawned upon Thebes, the city of 7 gates. At last thou art risen, great and bold with shining day, pouring light across the gleaming waters of terror.
He had come to destroy us and all in pieces. Fierce war, he brought them against our land, like some eagle, screaming his rage.
Close he hovered above our houses, circling around our 7 gates, with spears that thirst to drink our blood. Before his blazing firebrand, seized with fire icy towers, terrible clangor of arms repels him, driving him back, for hard it is to strive with the sons of a dragon.
For the arrogant boast of an impious man, Zeus hated exceedingly. So, when he saw his army advancing in swollen flood, and the pride of its gilded equipment, he struck them down from the rampart's edge with a fiery bolt, in the midst of their shouts of triumph. Heavily down the earth they fall, and lie there, he with torch in his hand, and possessed with crazy, and of the rest, each met his own terrible doom, given by the great war god, our deliverer, 7 foaming, running to our 7 gates, each fell to a demon, and arm at arms, shall raise our demon temple of Zeus. Say too, those two of a natural hate, 2 sons of one mother, 2 sons of one king, they strove for the crown, and shared with the sword their escape, each slain by his brother.
Yet do we see in our midst, and acclaim with gladness,
Victory! Glorious victory!
smiling welcome. But here comes Creon, the new king of Thebes.
In these new fortunes which the gods have given us, what purpose is he furthering, that he has called this gathering of his counselors?
My lords, for what concerns the state, the gods who tossed it on the angry surge of strife have righted it. And therefore you, by royal edict I have summoned here. When Oedipus maintained our state, and when he perished, round his sons you rallied, still firm and steadfast in your loyalty. Since they have gone upon a double day, upon a single doom, 2 brothers each, killing I scorn him. Thus I believe, and thus I will maintain. Now, conformably at Oedipus' 2 sons, I have proclaimed this edict, that he, who in his country's cause fought gloriously, and so laid down his life, shall be entombed and graced with every right that men can pay to those who die with honor. But for him, his brother, him called Polynesius, who came to lay waste his lands and to burn his temples, he shall not be entombed and graced with every right, but left there, unburied, mangled most hideously, food for the dogs and birds. Such is my will.
Such is your will, my lord. So you reflect our city's champion and our city's foe. You, being sovereign, make what laws you will, both for the dead and those of us who live.
See then that you defend the law now made.
No, they that burden unto younger men.
I have appointed guards to watch over the body,
What further charge then do you lay on us?
not to connive with those who disobey me.
Who is so foolish as to long for death?
Death is indeed the price, but love of gain has often lured a man to his destruction. My lord, I cannot say that I have come, all out of breath with running. More than once have I stopped, and turned round in my path, and started to go back. But I must come and tell you, I can suffer nothing more than what is in my fate. There is my comfort. And what is this that makes you so despondent?
First for myself, I did not see it done. I do not know who did it. Plainly then, I cannot rightly have come to any harm.
You are a cautious fellow building up this barricade. Do you bring in pleasant news?
I do, and peril makes the man pause long.
Won't you tell your story and be gone?
Then here it is. The body. Someone has just buried it and gone away, and sprinkled dry dust on it with all its sacred rites.
What? Buried it? What man has so defied me?
How can I tell? There was no mark of pickaxe, no sign of digging. The earth was hard, and the ground was dry. He who had been there left no trace.
My
Lord, the thought has risen in my mind. Do we not see in this the hand of God?
Silence, or you will anger me. You are an old man. Must you be a fool as well? Intolerable that you should suppose the God should have a single thought for his dead body. What? Should they honor him as one who came to lay waste his land and to burn his temples? From the first, there is a muttering against my edict. Of all vile things current on earth, none is so vile as money.
So vile as money!
For money opens wide the city gates to ravishers. It perverts the honest mind. It teaches men to practice all forms of wickedness and impiety. Such is my will.
May I reply, or must I turn and go?
Now, as before, your very voice offends me.
Is it your ears that feel it, or your mind?
Why must you probe the seat of our displeasure?
The rebel offends your mind, I but your ears.
Silence! You are a babbling fool.
If so, I cannot be the one who did it.
Yes, but you did, selling your life for money.
It's bad to judge at random and judge wrong.
You judge your judgment as you will, but bring the man who did it, or you shall proclaim what punishment is earned by crooked dealings.
God grant he may be found, but whether he be found or not, for this must lie with chance. You will not see me coming here again, alive beyond my hope and expectations. I thank the gods who have delivered me.
Wonders are many, yet of all things is man the most wonderful. He can sail on the stormy seas, though the tempest rage through the loud waves o'er an hour, as he makes his path amid the towering surge.
my coming tidily.
Sir, against nothing should a man take oath, for second thoughts belie him, under your threats that lash me like a hailstorm.
I said I would not come here quickly again, but joy surpasses all in magnitude.
Why do you bring this girl before me? Where was she taken?
It was like this. When we reached that place, those dreadful threats of yours upon our heads.
We swept aside each grain of sand that hid the clammy body, leaving it quite bare, and then sat down on the hill windward side. Then we saw the girl. She raised a bitter cry.
She raised a cry, mixed with imprecations, laid upon those who did it.
Then at once brought handfuls of dry dust, and raised aloft a shapely vase of bronze.
And 3 times poured the funeral libations for the dead.
Quickly we seized our prey, and charged her with this offense and that.
You there, who keep your eyes fixed on the ground, do you admit this, or do you deny it?
No, I do not deny it. I admit it.
Did you not know that this had been forbidden?
Of course I knew there was a proclamation.
And so you dared to disobey the law?
It was not Zeus who published this decree, nor have the powers who rule among the dead impose such laws upon mankind. Nor could I think a law of yours, a man, could override the laws of heaven, unwritten and unchanging.
Unwritten and unchanging! The daughter shows her father's temper, fierce, defiant. She will not yield to any scorn.
To boast of what she did and laugh at us. Then she would be the man, not I, if she defeated me and did not pay for it. For though she be my niece, or closer still than all our family, she shall not escape the direst penalty. No, nor shall her sister. She had an equal part in bearing the body. Summon her.
Would you do no more than simply take and kill me?
I will have nothing more and nothing less.
Then why delay? To me no word of yours is pleasing, God forbid it be so. A king has many a privilege. The greatest of these is say and do all that he will.
You are the only one in these to think it.
These think as I do, but they dare not speak.
Have you no shame not to conform with others?
To reference a brother is no shame.
Was he no brother, he who died for thieves?
One mother and one father gave him birth.
Yes, if the traitor fared the same as he.
It was a brother, not a slave who died.
He died attacking thieves.
Even so, the God of death demands his rights.
The good demand more honor than the wicked.
Who knows? In death they may be reconciled.
Death does not make an enemy a friend.
Even so, I give both love, not share their hate.
Down then to hell. Love there if you love must. While I am living, no woman shall have rule.
Caesar Aspine leaves the palace gate, in tears shed for her sister. Upon her brow, a cloud of grief has blotted out her sun, and breaks in rain upon her comeliness.
You there, lurking like a serpent in my house. Do you not admit that you shared in the burial? Or will you swear you had no knowledge of it at all?
I did it too. If she allows my claims, I share the burden of this heavy charge.
Justice will not suffer that, for you refused and I gave you no part.
But in your stormy voyage, I'm glad to share the danger traveling at your side.
This was the deed the God of death knows well. I love not those who love it when it's alone.
My sister, do not scorn me, nor refuse that I may die with you, honoring the dead.
You shall not die with me, nor claim as yours which you rejected. My death would be enough.
What life is left to me if I lose you?
Ask Creon. It was Creon who you cared for.
Oh, why taunt me when it does not help you?
If I do taunt you, it's to my pain.
Can I not help you even at this late hour?
Save your own life. I grudge not your escape.
Alas, can I not join you in faith?
You cannot. You chose life, and I chose death.
You chose life, and I chose death.
But what is life without my sister?
Say not my sister. Sister, you have none.
But she is Haman's bride. Can you kill her?
Is she the only woman he can bed with?
The only one so joined in love with him.
I hate the son to have an evil wife. It is not I, but death that stops this wedding.
It is determined then that she must die.
For you and me determined. Guards, take them in.
Thrice happy are those who have never known disaster. Once the house is shaken of heaven, disaster never leaves it, from generation to generation.
I see in the house of our kings how ancient sorrows rise again. Disaster is linked with disaster. Woe again must each generation inherit. There gleamed a shimmering light in the house of Oedipus, but death comes once again. This is the law. That man's life, every success brings with it some disaster. But here comes Haman, last born of your children. Greeting baby for Antigone.
Soon we shall now know better than seers can tell us. My son, surely you have not come in anger because your bride must die, but surely you are still my son, whatever I may do.
Father, I am your son. May your watch rule me, and may I always follow it. No marriage shall be thought a greater prize for me to win than your good judgment.
So may you ever be resolved, my son. Your judgment knowing this, that if you have an evil wife to share your house, you will find cold comfort in your bed. So, think this girl your enemy. Spit on her, and let her find her husband down in hell. Where all goes well, obedience is the cost. So, we must vindicate the law. We must not be defeated by women. Better yet, be defeated by men than be the victim of women.
Unless the years have stolen away our wits, all you say is said most prudently.
Father, it's the gods who give us wisdom. No gift of theirs more precious. I cannot say that you are wrong, nor would I have learned of that impudence, although another might fairly say it. But it falls to me, being your son, to note what others say. The city mourns this girl. No other woman, so they are saying, has so undeservedly been prosecuted for such a glorious deed. When her own brother was slain in battle, she would not let him lie and buried to be eaten by dogs and birds of prey. Is this not worthy a crown of gold? Such is the mutterings that go on here and there. There is no disgrace, even if one is wise, in learning more and knowing when to yield. See how the trees beside a torrent preserve their branches if they bend. The others, those that resist, are torn out, root and branch. So too the captain of a ship. Let him refuse to shorten sail despite the storm, and then to his voyage bottom uppermost. No, lest you reign cruel and be persuaded. If one who is young can speak with any sense, then I would say he does best, who has the most understanding. Second best is the man who profits from the wisdom of another.
My lord, he has not spoken foolishly.
You can each learn some wisdom from the other.
What? Men of our age go to school again and take lessons from a very boy?
If it is worth the taking, I know, but think of what should be done, not of my age.
What should be done then to honor disobedience?
I would not have you honor criminals.
And is this girl then not a criminal?
The city with a single voice denies it.
Must I give orders then by their permission?
If youth is folly, then this is childishness.
Am I to rule for them, not for myself?
That is not government.
Government!
It's tyranny.
Tyranny! The king is master and lord of his own city.
Then you had better to rule a desert island.
Villain! Do you oppose your father's will?
Only because you are opposing justice.
When I regard my own prerogative?
Opposing God's, you disregard your own.
Scoundrel! So to surrender to women.
but not to anything that brings me shame.
Your every word is in defense of her.
And you, and me, and the gods below.
You shall not marry her on this side of the grave.
So she must die, and will not die alone.
What? Threaten me? Are you so insolent?
It's not a threat if I reply to folly.
The fool would teach me sense. You will pay for it.
I'd call you mad if you were not my father.
I will hear no chatter from a woman's plaything.
Would you have all the talk and hear no answer?
So, you will not bandy words with me and not repent it. Bring her out, that loathsome creature. I will have her killed before her bridegroom's very eye.
How can you think it? I will not see that, nor shall you ever see of my face again. Those raging friends of yours who must tolerate your madness, I cannot endure it.
How angrily we went, my lord!
Young, we are greatly hurt. Grow desperate.
Ye shall not save these women from their doom.
It is determined then that she must die.
Not her who had no part in it. I thank you.
And for the other, how is she to die?
I will find a cave in some deserted spot, and there I will imprison her alive. There, she may pray to the only God whom she reveres, death, and find that it is wanton folly to refuse the dead.
Implacable, invincible love. Oh, love that makes havoc of all else. No one can escape love's domination. Man, no, nor immortal God. Love prays possessed by madness.
By love, even the mind of the just is bent awry. He becomes unjust.
I too, when I see this sight, cannot hold back my tears. I cannot hold back my tears to rise within bounds.
Behold me, O lords of my native city. Now do I make my last journey. Now do I see the last sun that I ever shall behold.
Yet a glorious day.
And rich and fame is yours. You go to the silent tomb.
They tell how cruelly she did perish, Niobe, queen of Thebes. Tears fall from her ever-weeping eyes. Like to her death, a cruel death now awaits me. Alas, they laugh! Oh, by the gods of Thebes, mock me when I am gone, not to my face.
Too bold, too reckless, you affront justice. For some old sin, you make atonement.
My father's sin! There is the source of all my anguish. Unwept, unwedded, and unbefriended, alone and pitilessly misused. Now do they drag me to death.
Enough of this! If tears and lamentations could stave off death, they would go on forever. Guards, take her into her cave as I have commanded. She shall live no longer among the living.
Oh, great my bridal chamber everlasting! Prison within a rock now I must go, to join with those who many have died. Death comes so cruelly, and yet I go in the sure hope that you will welcome me, my mother, and my father, and my brothers. For when you had died, it was my hands that washed and dressed you. It was my hands that laid you in your tombs and poured the last libations. And now because of you, Polynesius, to whom I have given burial, they give
Tiresias?
I will explain. You will do well to listen.
Have I not always followed your good counsel?
You have. Therefore you have been guided well.
I have had much experience of your wisdom.
Then think. Once more, you tread the razor's edge.
You make me tremble. What is it that you mean?
What divination has revealed to me, that I will tell you. To my ancient seat of Augury I went, where all the birds foregathered. There I sat and heard a clamor, strange and unnatural. Birds screaming in rage. I knew that they were tearing at each other with murderous claws. The beating of their wings meant nothing less than that, and I was frightened. I made a blazing offer on the altar, and I offered it to the gods, but it would not burn. Such omens, baffling, indistinct, I learned from him who guides me, as I am a god to others. Sickness has fallen upon us, and the cause is you. Our altars and our sacred hearts are polluted by the dogs and birds that have been glutting themselves on the fallen body of Polynesius. Therefore heaven will not accept from us our prayers. No fire will burn our offerings. No will birds give out clear sounds, for they are glutted with the blood of men. Be warned, my son, for no man alive is free from error. But the wise and prudent man, when he has fallen into evil courses, does not persist, but tries to find amendment. It is your good that I seek. Yield to the dead, forbear to strike the fallen, to slay the slain, is that a deed of valor? That instruction is best that comes from wisdom and brings profit.
All of you, like bowmen at a target, let's fly your shafts at me. Now you have even turned diviners upon me. Go, make your trade in Lydian silver and in Indian gold, but you shall not bury the body. For well I know that mortal man cannot defile the gods, but all Tiresias, even the cleverest men, fall shamefully when they use fair words to mask their villainy.
Does any man reflect? Does any man know?
No, what? Why do you preach at me like this?
How much the greatest blessing is good counsel.
As much I think his folly is his plague.
Yet you yourself with this plague are infected.
I will not bandy words with any prophet.
Yet you say my prophecies are dishonest.
Prophets have always been too fond of gold.
And tyrants of the shameful use of power.
You do know it is to your king of whom you speak.
King of the land I saved from mortal danger.
A clever prophet, but an evil one.
You will arouse me to awaken my dark secret.
Awaken it, but do not speak for money.
And do you think that I am come to that?
You shall not buy and sell my prophecy.
Then I will tell you this. You will not live through many circuits of the racing sun before you give a child of your own body to make amends for murder, death for death, because you have lodged impiously one who should walk upon the earth, and have lodged a living soul within a tomb, and have kept upon the earth, unblessed and unburied, one who belongs neither to you, nor to the upper gods, but to the gods below, who are despoiled by you. Therefore, the gods arouse against you their sure avengers. They lie in your path even now to trap you and make you pay their price. Now think, do I say this for money? Not many hours will pass before your house rings with lamentation. Men and women, hatred for you is moving in those cities whose mangled sons had feudal rights from dogs or from some bird of prey, whose wings carried the taint of dead men's flesh, polluting hearth and altar. These are the arrows I launch at you because you anger me.
fear she speaks the truth. I am terrified. To yield is hard, but to resist, that is harder still.
Creon, this is no time for wrong decisions.
Advise me. I will listen.
Release Antigone from her rock-hewn dungeon and lay the unmarried body in the tomb.
Is this how you advise me? To yield?
I would, and quickly. The destroying hand of heaven is quick to punish human error.
How hard it is. And yet one cannot fight against the hand of necessity. I will give way.
Go then and do it! Leave it not to others.
Just as I am, I go. I fear it may be wisest to observe the laws that are established.
Thou spirit,
Whose names are many, Dionysus, here is thine, must through thy Venus flow. Here the seven dragons' teeth and offspring. Come, Lord, with thy company, with thy own lips, with wild night-long dances, praise thee, bountiful Dionysus.
You noblemen of Thebes, how insecure is human fortune. Chance will overthrow the great and raise the lowly. Nothing's firm, either for confidence or for despair. None can prophesy what lies in store. An hour ago, how I envied Creon. He had saved Thebes. We had accorded him the sovereign power, and he was supported by a noble prince, his own son. Now all is lost, and he who forfeits his joy forfeits his life. He is a breathing corpse. Heap up treasures in your palace, if you will, and wear the pomp of royalty. But if you have no happiness, I would not give a straw for all of it compared with joy.
What is the weight of the heavy news you bring?
Death, and the blood guilt rests upon the living.
Death? Who is dead? And who has killed him? Tell me!
Haman, and by no stranger's hand.
Was it his father's hand, or was it his own?
His own, inflamed with anger at his father.
Yours was no idle prophecy, Tiresias!
That is my news. What's next remains with you.
But look,
Here is Gracie. She is coming from the palace. Has she heard about his son, or is she here by chance?
You citizens of Thebes! I overheard, for I had come to make an offering at the shrine of Pallas, and my hand was on the bar that holds the gate, the draught, when there fell upon my ears a voice that spoke of death. My terror took away my strength. I fell into my servant's arms and swooned away. But tell me once more! I can endure to listen. I am no stranger to bad news.
My dear lady, I shall tell you the truth. Why should I gloze it over? You should only hear from someone else and I would seem a liar. No, truth is always best. I went with Creon up to the hill where Polynesia's body still lay, unpitied and torn by animals. We gave the body holy washing and prayed to Hecate and Pluto that they would restrain their anger and be merciful. Then, to the bridal chamber of doom, to the hollow of death, one of us heard a cry from that place. He went to Creon and told him, and when Creon heard, he groaned aloud, "Oh, and of all my journeys, am I to find this one most calamitous? Hurry, men, run to the tomb, and when you reach the place, creep between the gaping stones and see if it be Haman there, or if the gods are cheating me." Upon this desperate order, we ran and looked, and reaching the furthest chamber, we saw the girl hanging, dead.
Hanging, dead!
Strips from her dress had served her for a rope. Haman we found embracing her dead body and lamenting his loss, his father's deed, her destruction. When Creon saw, he went in and cried out to his son, my son, oh why? What have you done? What is this madness? Come out, I implore you." Haman said nothing, but glared at him with anger in his eyes and spat in his face. Then, Drawing his double-hilted sword, he lunged, but missed his aim as Creon leapt to the side. And in remorse, he leaned upon the blade and drove half its length into his body. Now side by side they lie, and he wins his bride, and proves to all mankind that folly is the worst of human evils.
Alas, the wrongs I have done by ill counsel, cruel and fraught with death. Behold, the slayer, the slain, a father, a son.
Too late! Too late! Seizing the path of wisdom!
Alas, a bitter lesson I have learned. The gods, coming down with all their weight upon me, crushing my joy beneath their very feet. What suffering besets the whole race of men. Alas, thou grim hand of death, greedy and unappeased, why so implacable? O voice of doom, you who bring such dire news of grief, can it be true? My son, you have slain the slain.
But raise your eyes. There is the lifeless body.
Here is a sorrow that redoubles sorrow. Can it be true? What else can fate have in store? My wife, how did she end her life?
When she heard my bitter news, she drew a sharp-edged knife and stood by the altar, made lament for Megarius who was killed of old, and then, invoking evil upon you, slayer of both her sons, she closed her eyes in death.
Alas, is there none who will come and unsheath the sword to end all my woes? Alas, come, best of all the days that I can see. Come, best of the days, the last day, the day that brings death. Oh, come, night with no dawn, I prayed for death. I wish for nothing else. Lead me away, a rash, a misguided man, one whose blind folly killed a son and a mother. Oh, come, what strength can I find? On me has fallen a grief greater than I can bear.
Happiness, far the greatest part is wisdom, and reverence towards the gods. To the last, he is schooled in wisdom.
time here tonight. We're going to do about 5 minutes of meet and greet with the audience here, and then, as this is a multi-purpose space, we do have to strike all of our sets and costume and take them back to the Logic and Rhetoric School tonight. So I want to thank all of you again. There are some other things that are happening. We have our Grammar for Nativity service that will happen in December.